Hello friends, how are you all? In today's video, we are going to analyze one of your favorite companies which you have been asking me since a really long time. That's IEX. It's going to be a very interesting case study and I'm sure you're going to love it if you watch it till the end and you will be able to take the right decision whether you should be investing in this stock or not. Before we begin, if you are new to my channel, please do subscribe my channel because I bring lots of analysis videos and lots of other interesting stuff on my channel. And if you would like to join the community, you're welcome. You can follow me on social media channels and do follow me on Telegram because I keep sharing daily market analysis and lots of news and interesting stuff on my Telegram channel. So let's get started. So IEX is the first and the largest energy exchange in India. It was the first energy exchange which was started, and since then it has maintained itself to be the largest in India. It does nationwide power trading and it's an automated trading platform where the bids are matched by the system automatically. It's not just a exchange to trade derivatives, but actual delivery of electricity happens for the contracts which are traded on IEX. So the actual users of electricity and the manufacturers trade on IEX. There are a couple of other instruments which are also traded on IEX like renewable energy certificates and energy saving certificates. We'll discuss about this in detail in the coming slides. Overall, there are more than 6,600 participants on the stock exchange, which are from 29 different states. So you can say all the entire, they are spread across entire country. Out of these, 56 are distribution companies, 500 are electricity generators, 4,200 plus are the consumers, and more than 1100 are renewable energy generators. So you can see a mix of all people on IEX. IEX is a publicly listed company. As you know, it is traded on NSE and BSE. It is regulated by Central Electricity Regulatory Commission, which is CERC. You should remember this, and if you are investing in this company, you should be aware of whatever changes or regulations are being imposed by CERC now or going further in future. IEX was started in 2008. What are the advantages of somebody who is doing trading on IEX? Trading in the sense not for us, it is for the consumers who actually use electricity. The price discovery is very efficient if somebody does on IEX instead of doing manually. The accessibility is countrywide to all the electricity manufacturers. There is clear transparency in the transactions. The speed of transaction is very quick and transaction trades are executed efficiently. So these are broadly the advantages for somebody who wants to do trade on IEX for purchase or sale of electricity instead of doing manually. Now let's talk about the management. The company is managed by the chairman and managing director, Mr. Satyanarayan Goel, who's an MBA from FMS Delhi. He has more than 40 years of rich experience in different areas of power sector. He's been actively involved in forming various government policies. He was a former managing director of this company and recently another person was appointed, but since the other managing director left in between due to personal reasons, Mr. Satyanarayan Goel was again given the charge of an interim managing director. So he continues to be the managing director till the next person is appointed. He has worked with PTC India as director of operations and marketing in the past, and he has also worked with NTPC for more than 29 years. Now let's talk about a brief history of this company and the different milestones this company has been achieving right from inception. In 2008, when this company was incorporated, it launched Day Ahead Market. We'll discuss about these terms in detail as we go further in the product segments. So they started the Day Ahead Market and they started with 58 participants when they launched. In 2009, they registered their first consumer and they started Term Ahead Market. In 2011, they introduced renewable energy certificates. In 2012, the 15-minute contract trading was started. And in renewable energy, solar REC certificate was first time traded in 2019. In 2016, this energy exchange became first one to get ISO certified. In 2017, they launched energy saving certificates and they also got their company listed on the stock exchanges in 2017. In 2018, they signed an MOU with JPEX Japan. So not just with Japan, there are other countries also with which this company has MOUs. There are many listed. So to keep this brief, I have not listed everything. In 2020, they launched 2 new products and they also launched a new exchange as their own wholly owned subsidiary, which is Indian Gas Exchange. So this is going to be another big venture which will give them a lot of revenue going further. Now, discussing everything in detail, whatever the terms we have used earlier, all those terms are different products which are traded by IEX on their exchange for the benefit of their consumers. The first product is day ahead market, day ahead market. The second one is term ahead market. The third one is real time market. Fourth one is the renewable energy certificate and energy saving certificate. So what is day ahead market? In day ahead market, the electricity is transacted into lot size of 15 minutes or a block size. So in different quantities of 15 minutes, electricity is traded. Delivery after the contract has to be done the next day. So it is not for immediate delivery. Bids are submitted automatically and the buyer and seller is not known. It is anonymous and the system automatically matches the bids as per the prices. Then the regulations of CERC, as we have discussed earlier, those govern the day ahead market provisions. Coming to the term ahead market. In term ahead market, it's not the 15 minutes lot size or the block size. The buying and selling can happen up to 11 days. The same purchase and sale can be done through intraday contracts. And as it is up to 11 days, so it can be day ahead, it can be daily, weekly contracts also. For so small lot size, it is the earlier one, which is day ahead market, and for term ahead market it is for up to 11 days. The next one is the real time market. So here what happens, if somebody wants immediate delivery, then they trade this product which is called real time market. So in this what happens is there is a new auction session every half an hour or every 30 minutes. There is a new auction and the power has to be delivered 4 time blocks later. That means just a couple of hours later or after the closure of the auction. So within a few hours, the power has to be delivered if somebody is buying electricity in the real time market. And in this also, it is an auction based process. The next one is the renewable energy certificates. So apart from trading the electricity, there are renewable energy certificates being traded. So renewable energy generators who are producing renewable energy can get these certificates and they will sell those certificates on IEX. So the renewable energy whatever they produce, that is normally expensive. It is more, the cost or the price is more than the regular thermal and hydro energy produced. So those people, instead of selling that particular energy more expensive than the others, they sell it at a normal price, and the difference price they sell it as a renewable energy certificate. Now, why will any company or a consumer buy renewable energy certificate? The government or the CERC, these kind of bodies have certain mandates or regulations which force the companies to be using a certain percentage of total of their consumption as renewable energy. So when they are forced to use renewable energy as a certain portion, either they have to buy renewable energy or they have to buy renewable energy certificates to fulfill that. So the companies producing renewable energy, they will sell the renewable energy certificates, and the people who have to comply with that, they buy the RECs. So renewable energy certificates can be solar or non-solar, as renewable energy can be solar through the solar source or non-solar source also. Coming to the energy saving certificates. Now what are these? Again, there are bodies and the government where these are mainly for the industries which are more energy, which require more energy for their production. They are being asked to, they are some norms set, so they have to maintain that much efficiency in using their energy. If they are not able to maintain that efficiency or they are not able to save that much electricity in their production process, then they will be penalized and they have to buy energy saving certificates. So if there is a standard set and the consumption of electricity is as per the standard, then well and good. If it is better than the standard and the consumption is less, then that companies are rewarded and those companies can sell the energy efficiency certificates, energy saving certificates. And those companies who are not able to comply with that standard and they exceed the consumption, then they are penalized and they have to buy the energy saving certificates. So this is a way by the government to maintain the efficiency of the energy used in the country. Now, the exchange has participants from across the country, so we'll understand from which geography they are. Tamil Nadu is about 22%, Andhra Pradesh about 12%, Haryana 12%, Rajasthan 8%, Punjab 10%, Karnataka 6%, Telangana 5%, Uttarakhand 3%, and all the other states combined come to about 21%. When you see the participants from different industries, textile constitute about 31%, so major portion of the participants are from textile. Automobiles around 11%, metal about 16%, cement around 7%, chemicals around 11%, and rest of all the industries combined around 24%. Now let's understand the market or the industry in which this company operates or the power sector as a whole. In October 2020, the manufacturing PMI rose to 58.9. So this shows that the economy is almost back to normal. In fact, it is better than earlier as this manufacturing PMI is the highest in last 8 years. So when the manufacturing PMI is back to normal, that means the power consumption is also going to be back to normal. The national peak demand of energy, if you see, that that is gone up by 7% year on year. So that means the demand of energy is also gone up when compared to earlier year. The installed power capacity in India is about 375 gigawatts, and this is compared to earlier year grown by just about 2%. The renewable energy infrastructure has grown up by almost 6.1%. So the focus is on renewable energy. There are a few themes or trends in the power sector which we should understand on a broad basis. Decarbonization is one of the focus in the country where we are trying to become carbon neutral in the maximum ways possible, and we are trying to produce energy through renewable resources. So India aims to be having a 40% share of total energy consumption or production by 2030 through non-fossil fuels. And the renewable energy target of us till 2030 is 450 gigawatts. So you can imagine how much is the concentration of the government and what is the government targeting by the next 10 years. Another theme is decentralization. So when themes like solar power come up, then people themselves, they start producing electricity. So instead of having the power of producing electricity entirely in the select bunch of power companies, it gets decentralized into different people's or industries' hands. So the consumers themselves will become producers. So there will be a new breed of people which are called prosumers, which are producers and consumers both. Another theme which is going to be futuristic in the power sector is digitization. Entire the way we produce, the way we supply, distribute energy will become digitized. There will be automation and technology to optimize end-to-end supply. There will be new things implemented like smart meters, IoT, smart grid technologies in the power sector. The next thing is democratization. So by this, what will happen? The consumers will become more powerful. They will demand the quality of electricity and the efficiency and the way it is being supplied. There may be new concepts like peer-to-peer electricity trading, energy trading also, which may come up in future. So broadly, these are the themes or the direction in which the power sector is heading for the next 10 years. Out of 4%, out of the total power which is energy being traded in India, only 4% is done on platforms like IEX. So you know that the percentage is very less when compared to the foreign countries, and still there is a lot of scope in increasing this particular consumption. So what are the competitors of IEX? Most of us think that IEX is the only exchange in India which is doing energy trading, but it's not so. There's another exchange called Power Exchange India Limited, which is PXIL. So PXIL is jointly promoted by NSE and NCDEX. It was started in 2008, and it also does the same types of contracts which IEX does. And this company has only 4% of the market share. What is the competitive advantage which IEX has when compared to the other exchange or the upcoming new exchanges? The basic and the most important advantage is that the maximum number of people are present and trading on IEX. So only if a buyer is hopeful of finding sellers on exchange, that is why they come to IEX. And the sellers also come to IEX because there are plenty of buyers available on IEX. IEX has a lot of focus on the customer requirements, and that is why they keep developing new and new products as per their customer requirements. The technology which they use is quite efficient, and the matching process of the bids is going on pretty well. They are implementing future ready solutions, and they have recently started a new exchange for gas, which is IGX. They have a self-service mobile app and a website which is well maintained, and they keep launching new products as we have discussed. We have portfolio management solutions for shares and other securities. There are similar solutions provided for energy management in IEX. Is IEX really a monopoly? And is it going to continue as a monopoly going further? Is a very big question which you should understand before you decide to invest in this stock for a long-term basis. If you want to invest for a medium-term basis, then this is not so important. So as we have discussed, there's a regulatory body called CERC. So CERC has thoughts of implementing two things. What are the two things? One is market coupling authority. The second one is market-based economic dispatch. So what is market coupling authority? As of now, if somebody wants to buy or sell energy on IEX, the buyer and seller has to be present on IEX platform itself. But if there is a market coupling authority introduced, then the buyer and the seller will not be automatically finishing the transaction. There will be an authority which will match the bids of the buyer and seller. So the buyer from IEX can be buying from a seller on PXIL. A seller on PXIL might be selling to the buyers of IEX. So cross-platform trading will get possible if a new authority is introduced, which is called market coupling authority. So if something like that happens, then the buyers may not be so interested to trade only particularly on IEX. So this will become a big setback to IEX in terms of their monopoly. The next concept they are thinking about is market-based economic dispatch. So if you see, as of now, in India, very less portion of the energy is being traded on the exchanges. The rest is done physically. But the government has a thought of implementing the entire energy exchange to be done through online platforms like exchanges. If something like this happens, then you can imagine how much could be the level of the transactions, quantum of transactions which get shifted to these kinds of platforms. So that could be a very big opportunity for IEX, even if they lose their monopoly. Another thought we have to keep in mind is if something like this happens, then there will be a lot of new players which will be entering in the market, and you may see there are the platforms which are doing shares trading also may bring up and come up with new platforms which are more attractive and user easy to use in competition with IEX. So all these things have to be kept in mind before you decide to invest in IEX. What could be the growth prospects of this company? The Ministry of Power, if some companies have or distribution companies already have long-term agreements with the power producers, then those distribution companies may be allowed to not renew the contracts going further with the same power producing companies. So once they finish their contract, they may have an option to go to IEX and trade on that. So that will increase the volumes of IEX. Electricity Rights of Consumer Rules 2020, they are focusing on round-the-clock electricity and quality of the electricity improvement. So this will increase the business of IEX. The IEX platform, if you see, compared to the history, right now it is doing the highest quarterly volumes. IGX, which is recently launched, will give a lot of business to IEX as a subsidiary. And the exchange penetration, as we have discussed, is very less, only 4% in India, which will grow year on year, and the business will keep on growing. And IEX has been launching new products as per their customer requirements, which will be growing the company. What could be the possible risks which this company might face? Regulations as the biggest risk this company has to face. If there is a regulation, they have to comply with it. There could be changes in the way the company operates. The government may impose even caps on the amount of margins which IEX earns. That kind of regulatory change will also impact the business of IEX. There could be competition risk going further, even if it is not much now. There could be price capping. There could be compliance risk with different things which have to be complied. If the platform is giving margins to the customers for purchase and selling, then the default could be a risk. Technology risk to keep the platform updated as per the latest technologies. There could be cyber security risk, legal risk by the consumers or the sellers if something goes wrong. And the economic state will decide the amount of business IEX gets. If the economy is doing well, then the business will keep on going well. If the economy is in a depression or a downturn, then the business of IEX also will go down. Now, after discussing the business model in complete detail, let us come to the financials part. Starting with the quarterly results, comparing Q3 FY21 with Q3 FY20, revenue is 96 crores, which is up by 38.4%. EBITDA is 80 crores, which is up by 42%. EBITDA margin is 83%, which is compared to 81% earlier, and profit after tax is 58.1 crores, which is up by 39%. Profit after tax margin is 60%, which is almost the same as last year. This was the best quarter in the history of IEX, and year on year in terms of volume also, if you see, the growth is 61%. So the quarter results have been amazing. Now coming to the recent 5 years revenue, the CAGR growth was around 8%, which is decent. I wouldn't say it is very impressive, but pretty decent. But there is consistency in growth of revenue. And the recent last trailing 12 months, the revenue is about 291 crores. Profit after tax is about 197 crores in the trailing 12 months, and the profit after tax growth is about 16% CAGR. ROC is very impressive. Recently, it has gone down a little to 57%, but still it is well above the required standards. Now let's understand another interesting point about IEX, its shareholding pattern. FIIs hold about 29.6%, DII is 36.6%, and public about 33.8%. Where are the promoters? We don't see the promoter stake. So why there is no promoters holding in IEX? So IEX was promoted by a company called Financial Technologies India Limited when it was first started, FTIL. FTIL was the largest shareholder in IEX. FTIL, who was the man behind FTIL? There was a man called Jignesh Shah. So this man started different stock exchanges, not just IEX, like MCX also was started by FTIL. But later, Mr. Jignesh Shah was involved in some trouble and there was a scam of more than about 5,000 crores. So SEBI intervened and they have forced them, saying that you are not fit and proper to hold stake in these exchanges and you have to sell the stake you hold in all the exchanges. So these companies, FTIL and Jignesh Shah, had to step down from the directorship and they had to sell the entire stake. So that is why there is no promoter holding in these companies and it is held by FIIs, DIIs and the public. Now coming to other financial highlights, the equity is consistent, reserves are growing pretty fast. It's a debt-free company. Investments are about 624 crores. Cash position is about 21 crores. Remuneration to whole-time director is just about 4.5 crores, which is pretty decent. Free cash flow for FY20 is 123 crores. So cash flow position is pretty good. Stat auditors of this company are BSR and Associates LLP, and there are no suspicious related party transactions. Net profit margin is about 69%. ROE, ROCE is 45 and 52%, which is very impressive. Dividend yield is 0.85, which could be better, I feel, because it's a cash-rich company. Coming to the valuations, last traded price is 295 rupees, 52-week high and low is 116 to 323. So it has given a very good run up recently. In the last 3 years, there is a CAGR return of 25%, which is very impressive. Market cap of this company is about 8,800 crores. PE is about 46, industry PE could be around 30. EPS is about 6.35 rupees. Book value is 12.92. So PB ratio is 22. So in terms of PB ratio and P ratio also, I feel the valuations have gone up and it's pretty expensive right now. Coming to the price chart and the support levels, there could be one support somewhere around 250 if the stock falls. And if somebody wants to enter into this stock, they can start off with an entry level around 250. At 250, the PE would be around 39, which could be a small entry point if the market corrects. Coming to the recent news and announcements, IGX was the first exchange in India which has secured authorization to be traded for an exchange to be trading delivery-based gas exchange. IEX has sold 5% stake in IGX to GAIL. IEX has achieved highest ever electricity volume in Jan 2021. So it is at the best of its business. So this is about IEX. To sum up, the management team is pretty good. They are efficient and experienced. Fundamentals of this company are good. It's a cash-rich company. In terms of market leadership, it is still kind of a monopoly. Let's see what happens going further. The growth in the market is pretty huge. As you can see, the government is planning to shift everything online. So it's going to be a huge potential. So the sector has a lot of tailwinds for the company. Growth-wise, the company has shown consistent growth. Stock has also given consistent returns. There could be regulatory issues which have to be kept in mind, and you have to be having a close watch if you are an investor in this stock. There could be a risk of losing the monopolistic position. Valuations are expensive, but the stock has given good returns. So this is about IEX. I hope you liked the video, the analysis, and I was able to match your expectations. Please do share your view on the analysis, whether you like the company, whether you don't like it, what do you like it, so that we can discuss in the comments. I will personally reply to all your comments. So thank you for watching. Do subscribe to the channel if you have still not subscribed. Like the video to boost my confidence. Follow me on social media channels, especially Telegram. Thanks for sparing so much time watching the video. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.